What's up, guys? I'm Theo Joe, and as you can see, I'm here at CES 2020 again this year, and we're going to take a look at what I think are the coolest stuff throughout all the show floors. It's not necessarily the biggest, flashiest stuff, but just really what I think is the coolest. Some of these are tiny booths, some of these are from the biggest booths you definitely heard of. So let's just go through and take a look. One of the first cool things I saw was from Bosch. It was a prototype visor for a car, but instead of actually just coming down and blocking your entire view, it basically used LCDs to adjust specifically where your eyes were and where the light source was, like from the sun, or in this case they had a flashlight, and it would specifically just block parts of the visor screen that was shining in your eyes, so your face would just be completely protected, just blocking the source of the light, so you could still see through the rest of the visor, which was really cool. This is just a prototype, but this would be really awesome in a car I could see going forward. Next up, one really cool booth was the Omron booth, which had a lot of AI technology. So for example, they had a ping pong robot. You might have seen other people talking about this, and this robot is not designed to necessarily just be as good as possible and beat everyone, but really is designed to train the player. So it actually adjusts its performance based on how well the player is doing, and actually uses cameras and AI to try to determine the mood of the player. So if they're getting very frustrated, they may reduce the difficulty automatically. And I recall they also said it can do some crazy stuff like determining heart rate. So you can see on the screen, it showed what it thought the mood of the player was and then adjust accordingly. So that was really cool. Also at the Omron booth, they had some other robots like this. I believe it's called a pick and place robot, where on one side it was taking chips, like fake chips, off the conveyor belt and putting them into different sleeves here, little boxes, and you could actually stick your hand in and rearrange the chips however you want. So it wasn't just a pre-programmed straight pick it up from one position, put it into another. It was actually very dynamic. So that was really cool to see. And a third really cool thing they had was this laser etching metal straw machine. So you could actually get your badge scanned and then it would laser etch your name onto a metal straw and then they would give it to you. So this was a really cool booth overall. I really enjoyed looking at all the AI stuff. All right, next up, this was definitely one of my favorites. It was just so cool, was the DrinkWorks Home Bar by Keurig. So you know Keurig makes these instant coffee machines. Well, now they make one for cocktails, literally alcoholic drinks, and it's the same idea. You buy these pods that work with this DrinkWorks thing, and it actually has concentrated alcohol mixture in there, and when it dispenses, it creates whatever cocktail flavor you want, like as if you had made it with the actual ingredients. So each pod has one standard drink within it. So depending on the type of drink you have, it's going to be a different volume, but you know that each one is going to, no matter what, have one standard drink within it. So if it's, I don't know, like martini or something, it might be less concentrated than an old fashioned, so it would be bigger. You get the idea. And at the moment, they have over 20 different flavored pods types you can get, and I believe they're making a lot more than that. And each pod pack comes with 4 of the pods, so it might be kind of expensive if you're buying each of one of these, and each pod only makes one drink. But really, that's kind of part of the point, is you can easily keep track of how much you're actually drinking with this. And in the booth, they actually had a bunch of different samples you could try. I did try a bunch of them. They all tasted pretty good, so I probably am going to get this. It's like a $300 price tag, but I think sometimes they're on sale. So I think it's pretty cool if you entertain people a lot, or you just don't have to go out and buy a bunch of different mixers and ingredients and have to worry about keeping them fresh and stuff like that. All right, the next really cool booth I thought was from Kohler. This is a company that makes kitchen and bathroom stuff, or at least that's what they were showing here. And it might not sound exciting, but there was actually some really useful things here. For example, they have a smart faucet that links with like Google Assistant here they had, and you can actually ask Google Assistant to tell the faucet to dispense specific amounts of water. So here they said dispense 1 cup of water, and then it dispensed 1 cup of water. So that was really awesome. They also had some other cool stuff like a smart shower controller where you could connect different shower heads if you have multiple of them. You control the temperature, the different sprayers, the pressure, that sort of thing. They had a smart shower speaker that literally plugged into the shower head and it was like waterproof. That was pretty neat. And then finally, they had the most extra toilet ever. I mean, this thing looked ridiculous, but at the same time, it's really cool. It literally had RGB lighting for the toilet. It had like a motion sensor to open with your foot. I believe it was a heated seat. There was like a wall controller. I mean, this thing was so ridiculous, but at the same time, I mean, who wouldn't want to have that toilet in their house? It was just so extra. I love it. The next really cool little booth we saw was for this product called Moodo Go, which is basically like a smart air freshener where you buy these like scent pods and you kind of combine them together however you want. You put 4 of them in this machine, and then you can have it kind of dispense a custom-made scent into your house, like a custom-made air freshener. And in the booth, they had these little mini booths set up with these walls where you could step in, and then each of the 4 had a different scent. So I stepped into it. It smelled pretty good. They also had a giant wall showing a bunch of the different pods you could get, which was a cool display. This is probably going to be a little bit expensive. It's one of those things where you have to keep buying the pods, obviously. But if you do have some disposable income and you really like your house to smell nice, this might be a cool thing to check out. All right, now we can talk about Nanoleaf, which is a product that I actually have in my house. I love it, so I wanted to check out their booth, and they had a really awesome display. I mean, if you're not familiar with these, they basically are these smart light panels you can put up. They have a few different shapes, and I mean, they completely covered pretty much every wall of their booth with these Nanoleaf panels, and it looked really awesome. I'd never seen this many at one place, so this must have cost a fortune, at least at the retail price. They also had this indoor little room with it all over the walls that was showing how they have software that you can kind of mirror the average color of the computer monitor, and then it would display that in the Nanoleaf lights you had around. They also showed off some learning series products they're launching, I guess like motion sensors that can kind of detect what you typically do during the day and then adjust the lighting based on that. And then finally, they had new hexagon shaped lights that are apparently coming later this year. So I always like when they launch a new shape, so that'll be pretty cool. I currently have the square ones, the triangle ones. I guess I'll probably have to get the hexagon ones when they eventually launch. Next, we can look at the Procter & Gamble Life Lab booth, they were calling it. They had a huge variety of stuff, but really the main attraction, which I thought was hilarious, was this toilet paper delivery robot. Unfortunately, it was just a demo concept. You can't actually buy it, but it was really funny to see that they had something like this, and I think it got a lot of press coverage just because it's so ridiculous. So that was pretty funny, but also in the booth, they had some other stuff like this giant toothbrush showing how mechanical toothbrushes work. Procter & Gamble sells like the Oral-B brand. They also had some different razors around. I didn't even get footage of that, but they also had this air freshener system called the Area, which was pretty cool. So just cool stuff in general in this booth. Here's a cool little booth that you might not have ever heard of before. It's this product called Twinkly, which are these smart Christmas lights. I actually bought one of these one time, and it's basically RGB lights that you wrap around the tree. But the cool thing is that you use the app to actually take a video or picture of the tree after you set up the lights, and it analyzes it and maps where each of the lights are. So then you can use that to create animations that actually look decent. So the app knows exactly where each light on the tree is, so it can create the animation how it's actually supposed to look. So you can have these wild spiral type animations, these like gradient ones that actually look really awesome. You can see this giant tree they had set up had like 3,000 of these lights on. So this was just a cool thing that I saw in the middle of the show floor, and I thought it was cool because, you know, I bought it one time and it works pretty well actually. Another product I recognized was from BlackVue. This is a company that makes dash cams, and I actually have one of these in their car. But the thing that caught my eye was this 4G cellular cloud connectivity module they're selling, or I believe will be selling. And the basic idea is you can now connect your dash cam, or the ones that support at least, to this cellular connectivity, and then you can basically cloud back up your footage. So this could be good if, I don't know, you're worried about your memory card with your dash cam footage on it breaking, or you're worried about someone stealing your car and then obviously you lose the footage or something like that, and then you can never have to worry about losing it. And the one thing is you will have to, I believe, have a separate carrier plan, so you'll have to go through your cell carrier, get a data-only card with that, but still the fact that this is an option is neat. And finally, we can look at some other various things that were around the show floor. So for example, I don't even know what booth this was, but they had this like walking robot that reminded me of the Boston Dynamics robots. Also, Sony made a car. You probably saw that was in the Sony booth. That was remarkable. And then also Western Digital had this little breakfast where they had this 8 terabyte prototype portable SSD. So an 8 terabyte SSD, absolutely ridiculous, especially in this form factor, but really awesome. So that was just cool to see. So there you have it, just some things that I thought was the coolest stuff at CES. Let me know what you guys thought was your favorite. If there was anything I completely missed, be sure to let me know down there as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.